Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the FireStorm podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that Trent is a little bit more familiar with than I am, but I also have I have a lot of experience with it as well, especially with some of my, in my younger years, slightly younger, but, and you will know about this if you watch the first episode of the podcast where I mentioned that. But today we're going to be talking about writing, our experiences with writing, and for me that mostly involves fanfiction, so there's going to be some funny stories about fanfiction and such. And Trent, I think you have some experience with it as well?
A little bit of experience with fanfiction. I actually started off writing in a hole by essentially writing a fanfiction, and I've since then written a little bit more fanfiction, but also started up a whole lot of projects of my original stories, stuff like that. But I do know about fanfiction. I've read a bit, and I've written a little bit of my own.
Yep, I've read quite a bit, and some of it's not been very great, to say the least.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't logged into my fanfiction account because I made one, and I haven't logged into it in ages. I'm actually going to search it up right now just because I want to see
if you can find it.
I had some Yu-Gi-Oh fanfiction on there, and it's not the dodgy sexy fanfiction. It's the actual like a decent sequel story.
Yeah. Oh, I've read some
one thing of
some sexy fanfiction, dude.
You've read some sexy fanfiction?
Oh yeah, dude.
No. Well,
it's can't my wait favorite to hear about shit. It's my favorite shit, dude. I actually, I still can't believe I did this, but like, oh man, what was it? It was like mid 2019. I literally narrated probably 4,000 words of a sexy Pokemon anime fanfiction. It's a video. It's up on my Silver Talks channel. You can find it.
Oh, no.
It's there. It was great. It was miserable, actually. But I thought it was hilarious. Because it was like... Because the thing is, right? I hate that we're talking about this first, but this has to be addressed. It's like... When you're watching porn or something, or hentai, if you're cultured men like we are, it's hentai, you don't really, you just kind of watch the intercourse happen, but when you're reading it, they have to describe it, and so they have to use all of the terminology to describe that, and the amount of substitutes I've seen for penis and vagina it's incredible. It's incredible. The amount
you just learn about human anatomy by just reading fanfiction.
You just learn all of these different like substitute words for genitalia, and it's like, wow, I learned something today. And you're not like, maybe that I don't even think half of them are even used at all, but like they're just like there, you know? And it's like, because of the context, it obviously means penis, but it could mean like something else entirely, you know? Anyway, I also wanted to start this off by saying that, yes, fanfiction has a certain, like, what is the word I'm looking for? It's like, there's a certain generalization that's made about fanfiction that it's all fucking trash and terrible. I'd like to dispute that immediately, because it's not, because I've read some that are actually really, really good.
Same, actually. Yeah.
Before you
move on, before you move on, just going back to the sexy talk for a minute.
Oh, sure.
It baffles me with like writing and that sort of thing, like how like things like 50 Shades of Grey blew up. It baffles me.
It's
how
so
people
awkward.
Can get turned on by words.
I don't know that it's necessarily meant, or bleh. I don't think it's necessarily meant to actually turn you on. I think it's just supposed to be, like, just romantic, I guess. I don't know.
Well, not with what I've read.
I don't read 50 Shades of Grey, so I wouldn't know.
No, I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey either, but, like, things like that. How things like that blow up, and it's just, it outwardly looks like it's, this is here just to give you some thoughts.
A massive erection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you, I mean, I really enjoy writing, but I don't think I could ever write to the point where I turn someone on. I don't think.
You would be surprised. There's some degeneracy out there. Me included.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on. I finally logged back into my fanfiction account.
Nice.
Classic.
Nice. I actually wanted to continue. Yeah, I wanted to continue real quick. There's a lot of really great fanfiction out there, and the main thing I wanted to get across was that there's absolutely no shame in writing it, no matter how old you are, because one of the guys that is like, I read mostly fanfiction about the Pokemon anime. There's this guy who's been publishing these really, really long stories. I believe they're more shipping stuff. It's like retelling Ash's story from the beginning, but with Serena being there the whole time. There's like a few 100,000 words in just the first story, and he's on like his fourth story now. The guy's 30 years old and still going, and people love his stuff. And I have so much respect for that man. Like, I haven't read all of it. I don't even think I've read the entire first one. That's a lot of dedication. But there's absolutely no shame in writing it, especially if it's a hobby for you. And I think that, especially when you're younger, it's a great place to start out and test out your writing and just practice. Because there was a time when I was younger that I actually did want to publish books for a living. I don't want to do that anymore because, the whole music thing came up and I decided that was what I wanted to do. But there was a time when I was about 14, 15 when I wanted to try writing books. So, and I was, that was around the time when the Pokemon X and Y was around, and so I was like, yeah, I'll try writing some of this. So I started writing some more shipping stuff because I thought it was cute, and it was it's a great place to basically practice your writing, because no one's perfect immediately. Like, you're gonna have to get a lot of practice out, and you're gonna have to practice a lot for pretty much nothing in return.
You're writing for yourself.
Yes, you have to write. You have to write for yourself and to improve your writing skill, because no one tells a perfect story the first time they try, or no one tells a good story the first time they try. Like, you have to experiment with being able to write different characters and personalities and capture those in a good way, as well as work on developing character, world building, all this other stuff. You need to practice it, and I think fanfiction is a great way to go about that. To practice that.
It took me at least 4 years of attempting to write a single story for me to actually get to the point where I was comfortable enough with publishing something.
Yeah.
And even then, even now, I look back like 2 years ago and I'm like, you know what? There's so much more I could do, and I'm still improving, and I'm going to make this better. Like, yeah. With what I have achieved thus far, I'm happy with it, but I know I can do much better, and it's like a thing. You're always looking to improve yourself. If you're really dedicated to writing, you're always looking to improve. You're always looking for inspiration. You've always got ideas.
Yep.
And especially, you're right, with fanfiction. With fanfiction, you're already going into a genre, or you're going into a story that's already kind of developed, but you
exactly
are taking inspiration from that and trying to make something of your own.
Yes.
It is really good. It is really good for building up like your
skills
skill level,
just
so you know where you're at, and then you improve from there, and then you just adapt and learn, and then eventually it all just comes to you. You get ideas. If you get excited about writing, then that is the best place to be. When you're actually excited about writing something, regardless on if it's original or if it's already based on something else, it doesn't matter. As long as you're excited about just typing stuff and getting something down to make a story, that's all you need. You just need to feel happy and excited about writing something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where I'm sure we found ourselves at many points.
Yeah,
like, have you written much in regards to fanfiction? Like, how much do you reckon you've written?
I've written, probably, I've done 2 unfinished stories, and then I've brainstormed quite a few, which I might still have some ideas for, but, or like the brainstorming documents for. So I've done quite a bit, but it's not like anything really, really substantial. But yeah, like, I think the best thing about it for me is it's like, for someone who's a writer or aspiring to be one, it's a great starting point, because when you're writing it, you already are coming in and using a world with characters that already have set personalities and traits and all this other stuff. So you don't have to worry about building a character from scratch, which is probably one of the hardest things to do when you're writing. So,
yeah.
And you already know how they interact with the world around them and the other characters and such, like, and for everyone that already exists. So, yeah, and then you can use those pre-existing characters to build new ones. It's just, like, it's great practice. And some of it I actually find very entertaining, like, just fun stuff to read. So, yeah, basically, if you haven't read a fanfiction in a while, we're encouraging you to go do it right now. Do it right, just for fun.
This is if you are a big person with stories and writing or reading. Like, if you enjoy,
go read one.
Any of that, because I know a lot of people that don't read.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Anything, which is fair. If you don't read, that's completely up to you. Go back to TikTok. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you enjoy reading and you don't mind the idea of writing, of like checking out some, at times, less than professional work. Some people just write fan fiction when they're just starting out. If you're open to that idea, then give it a go. Just read, check it out. I actually do encourage checking out some fan fiction, just because
it's just fun.
It also gives you ideas. It is fun, and it gives you ideas for characters that you would never expect before.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, well, I wouldn't expect that, but it does sound like something that character would do.
Yeah.
It's really good when someone who's a novice goes into writing fan fiction and they're able to capture a character's personality that's already made. Like, they're able to capture that and add on to it, like, without it seeming weird. Like, it's really good if you're able to do that. And I've seen a lot of different, like, I've read a few Ruby fan fictions, and they're able to capture each of the 4 main characters perfectly in their own unique ways.
Yeah.
And it's, like, it's really impressive to see. So,
some cool stuff.
Yeah, if you're open,
there you go.
If you're open to the idea, check out some fan fiction, man.
If you are able to read, there's some really short stuff out there too. There's a lot of, like, they call it one-shots. It's like, you know, your typical one-shot's probably like 2,000, 4,000 words. That's super easy. Just, or at least the good ones are. Like, you definitely have to filter out some of the stuff that you just can't read because it's bad. But you, once you find the good stuff, it's like, it's just easy reading, because you're, like, you know, you're already familiar with whatever characters are in the story and such. So it's, yeah, I don't know, go fucking read. Use your eyes and get words into your...
read.
Infuse them words into your brain, dude. Like, that's...
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Read, bitch.
Exactly. So...
everyone's read Harry Potter at least once. Come on.
Exactly. Come on. So I'll just go ahead and start off with, some stuff that I've written, just for fun.
Go ahead.
So, let's see.
Wait, is it on your Wattpad?
Is it on my Wattpad? No, just the story I wrote a while back. It's not done yet. I meant to finish it, and then I didn't.
You got it, because you got a Wattpad, don't you?
Yeah, I wrote another more shipping thing a while, like a couple months, started last year sometime, just because I was like, I wanted to try writing again, and I did, and I eventually, like, just published it because I actually wasn't, like, terribly ashamed of it. So but yeah, it's still there. I meant to finish it, but it's not. It's kind of incomplete. But that's actually good, and that's not entertaining. So I'm gonna share some of the shitty stuff that I've written.
Yeah, go on.
So it's mostly Pokemon for me, obviously, as I said before. In my writing folder, I have an entire subfolder that says it's just titled, "Well, this didn't go anywhere." So it's just a bunch of random shit that I tried to write and it just didn't finish, or it's bad. So my first Pokemon stories were, if you're unfamiliar, it's advanced shipping, which is Ash and May. So most fan fictions come with shippings and pairings, by the way. If in case that wasn't obvious, so
majority of them,
most of them do. So mine were my first couple attempts were Ash and May together. So I'm dying. So
we just started, don't I?
Yeah, I know, right? So the first one never got a title. I don't know how much of I actually wrote of it, but it was. So the first, it didn't have a title, so I can't like give you a title for it. Even if I did have one, I don't know that I'd actually give you a title. But either way, I think I wrote 9 chapters for it. And the thing was, it was like this weird dramatic build up that didn't really make any sense. And this was, I think, during, or at least at the beginning of X and Y. So I think I wrote it to be after Ash, after the Kalos League, and in my canon, Ash had won. So I don't remember. I'm not about to open one of these because if I do, I'm going to hate myself. But so the last time most of them were edited was end of 2014. So I am not gonna open those. I will die probably. So, but that never. I think that was that. I can't remember if that was the one that was published briefly or not before I took it down. But either way, one of them was there, and then I tried another one, which was a little less bad. The problem with the first one is that I was really bad at writing. My dialogue was really awkward. It sounded forced, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, it was really forced, kind of sounding dialogue. The second one,
if you're new to writing and you're just trying it out for the first time, a lot of things just appear forced.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're used to reading a lot, you're like, okay, maybe I should include some words here.
Yeah.
And then it just sounds really, really forced.
Yeah. So, and then I have the second one, which another problem with the first one is that it took a long time for anything of substance to even happen. So you spent it was like the first 4 or 5 chapters with just nothing happening and just kind of random shit that didn't even matter to the overall story. I don't even know if I had a story for this. I genuinely don't even know if there was supposed to be a full-on plot that was going to happen. I had a kind of messy one for the second attempt. And I'm reading through it now, it makes no sense. So yeah, but that's the thing, especially, like I said, most of my experiences with Pokemon stuff, the lore behind Pokemon, especially if you look at movies, if you look at actual Pokemon movies, some of the stuff that you see, the lore behind the legendary Pokemon is actually not necessarily canon in the games. So
no.
Basically you could throw, theoretically, if you were to try something like that, you could basically take any sort of legendary Pokemon that kind of seems like it would have X ability and just give it X ability for the convenience of your plot. So that was kind of what I did, and then I brought in this for the plot of the second one. There's this all-star cast that come in, so there's already an overcrowding a bunch of fucking champions and Elite Four and random shit with just kind of Ash and May shoved in the middle. So it doesn't really make any sense. Again, most of these were edited beginning of 2015, so right after the last one. So
I bet you at least 2 of those cameos didn't have any dialogue. I bet you.
Probably. But again, I think I got through 8 chapters of this one. I believe this is the one that was published briefly before I took it down because I just stopped.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so, but yeah, this was like I said, I was probably 15 at the time. So I tried to make it like super dramatic and edgy, basically. Like it was so
Oh, you always gonna make it
edgy, dude. It was so edgy.
Always.
Like I almost made this like trailer to post on my YouTube channel at the time for it, which was yeah. So it was like I can't remember if I actually did it or not. Either way, it probably doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, and then so there's some good stuff there. I'll talk about some more later because I want to give Trent a chance to talk a little bit about some of his first stuff. But I have there's some I actually did you were just talking about this. I did a one shot of a Last Airbender fan fiction. I don't remember if I ever finished it. But it's essentially there was a brief period where I actually read some Avatar fan fiction, and I can't remember which one it was. Or what the name of it was, but it was like essentially it was like a continuation of the story after the end of the TV series, which does exist. Like there is a canon of that. There's like a comic book or whatever, which I've never read, but
I want to check out the Last Airbender comic book. That actually does look really
cool. Yeah, because I mean I kind of want to know what happens after the series ends. So, but yeah, like I just. So there is this one shot. It's 13 pages, so I guess I did finish it. So it was really, like again super fucking edgy. Oh man, it was. This is. I'm not gonna read this because if I do, I'm going to shoot myself. But
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's how you feel a lot of the time.
Yep, it is how I feel a lot of the time. But yeah, it's just.
Oh no.
This is so I don't know. I'm just like, because I just remember when I was writing this is almost like directly inspired by something else that I read, and I just like made it Avatar and it worked. Well, it didn't really work because I don't think I ever published it, and probably for good reason. But yeah, this is something that exists. I'm gonna go look for my other stuff, and I'm gonna pass this to Trent to let him talk for a bit.
Sure. Well, if you've watched a few of our older episodes, I mentioned before my history with writing. I'll retell it briefly. So, yeah, I started off writing fan fiction. My initial interest in writing was in year 9 or 2014. This was the height of when me and my friends were playing Skyrim. And I wasn't actually in anime at the time, but for some reason I was always interested in Japan. Decided to take a class in trying to learn Japanese in school, and one of the classes, one of the assignments was basically to write a short story based on whatever we wanted, and then transform it into Japanese.
Nice.
So I wrote mine, because I was in love with it at the time, on Skyrim. More particularly the Dawnguard DLC, as I loved the characters of like Serana and like the Vampire Lords. I thought they were awesome. So I kind of wrote my own little fanfiction based on that. And then poorly translated it to Japanese, because the first sentence had something to do with train tracks and a pancake, and I don't like, as you translated it from English to Japanese back to English with Google Translate, it just fucks everything up.
Oh yeah.
So, well, our teacher was shit anyway. He didn't know how to. He was really bad. But regardless, I wrote my first little fan fiction then, and I actually really enjoyed coming up with my own stories. So I kind of took the premise of the Dawnguard DLC and turned it into my own story. I essentially kept Serana, I kept her father, and then I made the main character actually have substance. And then just fucking went to town. I wrote like 4 different short stories, which all culminated to like 80,000 words between the four of them together. And I remember I made a trilogy. I fucking made a trilogy. Because at the end of the third one, the main character in Serana had a kid. And then in the fourth one, it was all about the kid. And I remember that. I made a fucking trilogy. I, in fact, printed it to get a few teachers to look at because they were writing like aficionados, and they would check them for me and do spell checks and that, just because it was my own little personal interest. And I still have the printed copies of them somewhere. I might actually, in a bit, just go get them and I can tell you the titles of each story.
Nice.
I might do that. But yeah, from there, that basically where my love of writing came from. And then after that, I decided to write my own original story with, like, captured elements from all of my interests at the time. And that's how The Protector came to be, my first book. The Protector was the first original thing, and then it grew by like the end of 2015. I had about 100,000 words down, but it was not great, but it was alright.
Fanfiction.net.
And then end of 2016, I started to turn it into a light novel series, and that's where we are today. And I published volume 1 of it in 2018, September. And now I'm going back to the original concept of turning it into a novel. But other fan fiction I've delved into, I attempted to write a Ruby one. It didn't really go as well because I didn't know how to write 4 different females. So I was kind of like, I'm not great at this one, I'll leave it. I did write a Tekken fan fiction, which was my own ending to Tekken 7, because I didn't actually know what was happening at the end of Tekken 7. I assumed Heihachi was gonna die. Oh, spoilers. And I was correct.
Fuck!
So basically my my own written version had, like, Jin take control of the robot Elisa again. They went and searched for Kazuya, who just killed Heihachi. And then I kind of bring everyone else back into it. And I still have that somewhere as well, but it's more likely or not in the cloud somewhere on my, like, Google or something, or in Pages. I don't know. It's somewhere and I don't know where it is. But yeah, so I haven't done as much fan fiction as you would think. I have delved into it before, but a lot of them have been one-shots, like attempting to get something off the ground, but not really been successful with it.
Yeah.
But because of all these and reading different fan fiction and, like, gaining inspiration from different places, I've kind of gotten into writing my own stories a lot more. And we can go, like, have you attempted to write anything original, or have you just mainly been focusing on fan fiction?
I feel like I've definitely attempted something, or like started brainstorming for something original. I don't know that it was ever, like, actually, like, made a reality, though.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I've gone fucking ham with I've got, like, a book with ideas in it.
Nice.
The Protector's obviously my main focus, but I have kind of, I've told you about this. I've kind of, like, recaptured the idea of the Skyrim fanfiction and turning it into an original multi-choice storybook.
Yes.
I think it's called, like, Endless Path of Destruction. That's what it's called at the moment. And it's like a choose-your-own-story adventure based in olden times with vampires and werewolves and shit. So, yep. There's a thing. I had a book called Change, which was about an Australian kid having to move to America and starting up a band. It was really cool. Had one of my favorite chapters of writing in it, and I've lost the entirety of the thing to the cloud, so it's
not
dead.
Epic.
But I want to revive it because it's that's not epic at all. I want to revive it because it was a nice concept I had. And it was the only one that wasn't actually fantasy, it was just fiction.
Yeah.
Realistic
Realistic fiction.
I know.
Oh,
It's like, yeah, my parents could die in real life.
yeet.
Oh, dead. Oh, and there was another story which was kind of like a zombie apocalypse story, kind of like I grabbed the ideas of like High School of the Dead, Gears of War, and a fuck ton of other things and just smashed them together. And I got about 2 chapters into that, and then I thought, well, I don't know where I want this to go.
Yeah.
But I did a really good prologue chapter where kid watches a late night wrestling show, and because it's really late at night, but he's still got a bunch of energy, he decides to just go for a walk. And then like he walks and he sees a dimly lit bus stop, and he sees a guy kind of like hunched over on the chair, and then he's just like, oh, he looks sick. He gets a bit closer and he sees blood on the bus stop window, and he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he just sees the guy stand up and turn to face him, just glowing eyes, and then he starts running at him. The kid fucking sprints back home. He's like, what the fuck? And it's just like, I had a lot of fun with that.
Nice.
That was a nice chapter. But yeah, more often than not nowadays, I'm kind of focused on my own original stuff. I'm still coming up with ideas, and I'm still in the process of writing The Protector again as a novel. I've made a lot of progress actually in the past week.
Nice.
But, yeah, I'll also get into talking about the audiobook project, because that's probably not going to come out for a bit. But
you should do that, because we just got Mike's lines today. Mike's last lines today.
We did.
So yeah, shout outs to Mike. Was it Imperfect Sound? That's his YouTube channel. Really,
you know what,
really
I
cool
might,
guy.
since we're doing this as like a writing thing episode, I might actually reveal the cast here, because I've got all the voice lines.
Might as well.
So yeah,
we'll do that.
You go on about something for. Yeah, you go on about something for a bit, because I actually want to go get my old the Skyrim fan fiction chapters, because they're literally in the back cupboard.
Okay, when you get
about something, I'll be back in just 2 seconds.
When you get back, we need to trade off, because I need to piss. He didn't hear me. Anyway, so yeah, actually, so you can actually find a fan fiction that I am currently writing. Yeah, a while, like mid 2019, around when I did that stupid video of me narrating the Lemon fan fiction, I got the urge to write again, and I just started writing something, and eventually it turned into this kind of little mini series idea. Again, it is some more shipping, so if you think Ash and Serena are cute, then feel free to go and check it out. It does exist. You can find it. It's called Chasing Dreams. It's on Fanfiction and Wattpad. And then, so you can find it. It exists. I'm trying to update it, but again, I have a lot of priorities over that. Like, I have music is before that. My schooling is before that. Literally everything else is before that. If I ever am just totally fucking bored and actually, because you have to be in a certain mood to write. So if I ever get that urge, then I try writing it. But again, I'm not consistent, because I have so many things I like prioritize over that. Like, I'm trying to keep a consistent music schedule. I'm trying to get good grades at school, etc., etc. So, and this even
school is important.
And this even is a priority for that. So, yeah, it's like. You can find it. It exists. I'm gonna try to finish it at some point. I think it needs like 6 more chapters until it's done. So I don't know if it's actually gonna ever become the full series, but it might.
What are you talking about?
I was talking about the fan fiction that I published last year.
Yeah. I think I haven't read it, but I saw the cover for it.
Yeah, so it does exist. I was just mentioning. I was just talking about how you can go find it.
Oh no!
I don't.
Sorry, I'm going through my box.
Oh,
of
nice.
old drafts. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you can I don't know that it will hopefully be finished like relatively soon, but I don't know how. Again, it's something that I only do when I have literally nothing else that I have to do on top of that. So, or if I'm just maybe bored at the library and I can't, I literally cannot work on music or anything like that. So, but again, that is last in line on my priority list. But there's like 11 chapters published of it, I think. So, yeah, but like as soon as chapter 12 is like almost done, but yeah, it was a great time, like, just because I did a lot in a short span of time, like in April and May. I probably did 5, 6, 7 chapters in that time. So it is fun, but you have to be in that groove, right? Like, you have to be like in a very specific mood to be like, I'm gonna fucking write today. And like, you slam your dick on the table and you're like, all right, keyboard, prepare to get masturbated on. And you just type. So but yeah, I do like there are, and like I do have ideas for I wonder if I ever like brainstorm some other stuff. There is stuff here that I've like briefly tried that I like kind of brainstormed and didn't do anything with. There was I had an idea for a Kalos rewrite, that only got 1 chapter, so that didn't go anywhere.
Holy fuck!
Excuse me?
Sorry, I found a revelation.
Okay, nice.
In my book. Sorry. Oh my god, this changes everything. I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
Sorry.
I'm just confused. So, I had like an idea for like a Kalos rewrite that didn't go anywhere. That's because obviously it's a lot of work, so that didn't go anywhere. Probably won't. I had an idea for like a kind of silly, really light, feel good, not feel good, like very, I don't know what the word is, but something really nice and easy to read that was based in Alola, like the Sun and Moon anime. Didn't go anywhere. I think I got a chapter and a half out of that. Yeah, that actually was more recent. That was probably around 2018 when I did that. So that might not be terrible. But yeah, so I have brainstormed for that little like my series that I mentioned. I have brainstormed for it like all the way through pretty like somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but it does have a place to go if I ever decide to be like, hey, I'm gonna actually continue this and put work into it. So it does have a place to go, but for now it's just kind of stagnating because I am doing many other things. Also, I had an idea for, and this is one of the saddest moments, I think. Not moments, but one of the saddest things about last year for me. We didn't get an actual Sword and Shield Pokemon anime. We got Pocket Monsters. No. And I'm upset because you know what? I haven't actually Pokemon does this thing really, really well, or at least for me, as someone who's been watching since God knows how long. At the beginning of a new series, and this was true for pretty much Hoenn until Kalos, until after, like, Sun and Moon didn't have that same feeling, it was a different feeling. But from Hoenn to Kalos, there was like this feeling you got at the beginning of a new series, because you're kind of watching all the different characters' individual stories and watching how they would eventually meet up and start traveling together. And I'm still dying. And it was really cool. Like, it was just like this feeling of like a new adventure, I guess. It's corny, yeah, and that's kind of what they want you to feel, but I guess maybe I'm just 10 years old on the inside. So it's just really cool. Like, there's nothing quite like the beginning of a new series of Pokemon. And you can't say the same thing. Even Sun and Moon had that to an extent. Like, you felt like something new and fresh was happening. But because when you watch the same Pokemon series for a long ass time, you get how 140, 190 episodes of it. It's like, oh, this is just the thing now. It's like you have your certain groups and you're just a thing. But like at the very beginning of a new series, you're kind of like watching them all come together. Especially I felt that for Kalos, because it took like a full 6 or 7 episodes for the whole group to finally come together. So it's just like a really cool feeling. Like you just get to kind of watch this as something new and fresh kind of unfolds and starts to form. But Sword and Shield didn't get that. And that's a real fucking shame because I think Galar is a really cool region for one. So I would have loved to see like a full series focused on it. And two,
don't you think it's ironic? Don't you think it's ironic that the two of the most interesting series they've made, they haven't actually given them the same treatment as previous series. Like, they made the Sun and Moon anime, but we didn't get Sun and Moon movies. And then they've made really good games in Sword and Shield, but we don't have a proper Sword and Shield anime. What is this?
I don't know, dude. But yeah, Sword and Shield are so good. I would have loved to see a full series based in Galar, because I think Galar's a really cool region aesthetically. I think it's one of the probably the coolest, or up there with my favorites. Like Sinnoh is another one, and that's really good. Like aesthetically and design wise, as far as setting goes, I think it's really, really good. It's just so nice. It's a lot of diversity in like the terrain, and just the world just feels really complete and stuff. It's really cool. I would have loved to see a full series there, like I said, but we didn't get that. We got the, I'm not gonna say it's a monstrosity because it's really not. It's not that bad, but it's just not Pokemon. We got Pocket Monsters, which is not the same, and it's not as cool. So it just kind of feels empty. It just kind of feels like this show that exists. It doesn't have the same Pokemon feel to it that the last few have, that the last all of them have had. So that's really a shame. So one of my ideas more recently was to, and obviously this is very recently, because
a Sword and Shield.
Exactly, and it's not to, and it wasn't ever. Yeah, that was the idea basically, is to basically create a series that is fully based in Galar. And that includes like a new like traveling group. The idea I had was
like Gloria and Marnie.
Actually Gloria and Sonia was my idea. Just because Sonia in the games kind of goes around, kind of follows you, or you follow her or something. But every series needs like a Brock character, and Sonia would do that really well. So
good point.
Yeah. So I would need to like brainstorm it more, and it was never supposed to be like this super in-depth thing. It was just supposed to kind of be, and it wasn't ever, it also isn't supposed to be like what I think it would have been had the Sword and Shield anime actually happened. It would be, if I ever actually got down to writing it, it would be what I would have wanted it to be. So like, you know, not what I think it would have been if it existed, but something that I would be more entertained by. So it was and it wasn't supposed to be like super, super long or anything. It would just cover like the major events, like a very baseline kind of thing. Well, actually, but on that note, one of the most interesting things, and I've been watching Pokemon X and Y, it's on Hulu now, I've just kind of been throwing it on whenever I'm bored. It's like the filler episodes, it takes actually a lot to think of just random shit for characters to get up to, even if it makes no difference to the plot as a whole. So I just really impresses me, all the different shit they come up with. So I think that's one of the more interesting things about Pokemon, is that there's so much filler, and you have all of these different Pokemon to look at their like dex entries or whatever and be like, what the fuck is that? Let's make an episode about it. You know? So yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think filler episodes are actually one of the best places for character interaction. Like, are some of the best sources for like the characters having really good moments and like really funny moments with each other. So yeah, like some of the best parts of the X and Y filler I've been watching is when Clement tries to do an invention and just blows up. Like that, I don't know why I laugh. I still laugh at that. It's what, 8 million years later since that series has ended, and I still laugh at that. It's just funny. It's just because he gets so excited about it and then he just blows up. So, but yeah, that's my most recent idea, was be to have Ash, Gloria, and Sonya. I haven't thought of what I would have Gloria do, because obviously I wouldn't want the two people traveling together to have the same goal, because then you would see multiple gym battles against the same gym leader, and that's not fun. So
I feel like if you were to do that, like, Gloria would be the most interesting thing you could write, because Gloria, in any other situation, like, she's only in the game,
yeah,
where you play her, so she's like an open canvas.
exactly.
You can write whatever the fuck you want character development for her, but she's got to have an accent.
Yeah, see, actually, one of the things I was thinking...
Only requirement!
One of the things I was thinking is that if I actually did write it, I would probably, at least to start with, not write her with an accent, because I feel like if I did, I would just offend so many people. Because I just can't speak with another dialect. Like, if I tried to write a character with another dialect, I would probably just fail. Like, I would have to have a Scottish person correct it for me.
Yeah, no, that could be an idea.
Yeah, but, there you go.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's like I think just something really simple and easy to read would be cool, because that's one of the biggest shames, I think, of like recent anime. Like, I would have wanted to see something like that. We have this, I don't know, we have whatever Pocket Monsters is, which is a thing. So yeah. I'm not
Alright, now it's time to explain what I was reacting to before.
Yes.
Okay, so I found my box with all my old drafts and stuff in them, and like a few years ago, I got sticky notes and labeled when they were from, just so I'd remember in the future. And actually, I told a lie earlier. I actually started writing the fanfiction and did the Japanese class in year 8, which was 2013, not year 9. Because it even says... my first ever thing I wrote solo was actually going to be a multiple choice story.
Nice!
This motherfucker predicted that I would turn the Vampire's Return, like the original Skyrim fanfiction, into a multi-part story back in 2013. That thing has been there, because the first story is called The Vampire's Return, Serana. And it's literally about how... it's just a random guy, and it essentially is the Dawnguard DLC at the very start in Skyrim, where you get recruited to go to this underground cave and you find Serana. The first part is essentially just that. You find Serana. And then in the actual game, you go to her father, and she says, "Oh, thank you for rescuing my daughter. You can become a vampire if you want." So then you have the choice of accepting it and becoming a vampire, or declining it. And what I did in my fanfic is that I wrote at the very end, if you accept it, you can choose to read the sequel to this, The Vampire's Return Vampire Blood, or if you decline it, read The Vampire's Return Wolf Blood. So basically, I made it, if you decline the offer, you would choose the second choice, and you would become a werewolf.
Nice.
So I remember, here it is. I wrote Vampire's Blood, but I never got around to Werewolf Blood. But and then at the back, I have thanks to my friend Aaron and my teacher, Mr. K, for proofreading it. Oh my god, that was hilarious. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Aaron.
it, bro. But then when I scrapped that and wrote just the short novels, this was like the end of 2014, start of 2015. The 4 stories that I mentioned earlier, they were called The Vampire's Return, that was number 1. The Dragon's Return, that was number 2. How edgy is this? The Darkest Heart was number 3. And then number 4, when it was on the main character's kid, it was called The Choice of a Werewolf.
Dang. Dude, that is so edgy.
This was edgy as fuck. And then I remember I brought in heaps of different Jarls, like leaders of different towns. They all came together, and then they fucking... oh my god, just looking through this. Jesus
Epic.
Christ. I cringe. But, then there was the different versions of that, and then I have the original version of the Protector, and I essentially use Jin Kazama from Tekken as Zane.
Nice.
Oh my god. The original book was, oh my god, it was terrible. But just looking at it now, I even got friends to mark it. Like, I even have, like, book draft number 1, that was in 2015. Book draft number 2. They've got scribbles and writings all over them. I might take some photos and show people.
Nice.
And then number 3 was perhaps the most professional looking and the biggest. And that's when I changed her name as well. And then, oh my god, just the different everyone's names have been through so much development except Zane. Zane was always the original character. I just read the principal's original name was Sergey.
Nice.
Sergey.
Sergey.
And then, fuck me. But,
no.
Yeah, no, the Protector has been through many different drafts, and the Vampire's Return, that's what I called the fanfic, was... I can't believe I forgot I actually wanted it and intended it to be a multi-choice story.
Nice.
It was originally going to be like a really short story, and then you could be like, okay, you make the choice from here on in. Do you want to be a werewolf or a vampire? And then the story continues from there. So I can't believe I originally had it as a multi-choice. I even photoshopped really bad covers for them. And they're so low res, you can't even tell what the fuck's going on. But they're there at the back of that old print from fucking 6 years ago. My god. But,
That's
yeah,
epic.
I'll take some photos and I might show them if you guys are interested, but... That's incredible. That is incredible.
That is incredible. Actually, I pulled up my list of favorites on fanfiction. I wanna, since I've been talking about myself, I wanna kind of recommend you guys some shit.
Yeah, I logged into my fanfic account, and for some reason I don't have favorites, but I know what one of my original favorites was, so I'm gonna find it and look for it. But
I wanna recommend y'all some shit. So, what are some good ones? So mostly, again, my experience is mostly Pokemon, as well as some Zelda stuff. So there's some good Zelda stuff that I've read. I wonder which one I'm thinking of. One of my favorite ones was called. It's on Fanfiction. You can find it at fanfiction.net. That it surprised me how long this website has existed. Like I've seen shit published from like 2005, and I was like, holy fuck. There's one called There and Back Again, which is a post... I've actually not played Skyward Sword, but it's a post-Skyward Sword fanfiction, which is basically like... It kind of shows them developing the civilization on the surface world, whatever that means. But I mean, from what I understand, like they kind of start off in this like island in the sky, and then at the end of the game they move to the surface. Whatever, who cares? It's actually really well written and some really good stuff. I actually want to find, if I can, I want to find the one by that really long one, by that one guy, Pokemon Master. Wait. No, that's not it. Wait, is it not it? It was like LA some... I don't know. I remember the name. There it is. I knew it. I found him. His name's Fanatic LA Guy. He's on Fanfiction. Yeah, see, literally 5th story. He's on his 5th story right now. When it was updated. It last updated end of November. So, fairly recently. Literally the first one, the Kanto arc, is 650,000 words. So if you want to sink your teeth into something, goddamn do I have the thing for you. This is really well written too, and it's kind of, actually, it's a lot more mature than you would expect from something that is labeled Pokemon. But obviously the dude's, what, he's, 31. So obviously he's not gonna write like a fucking 10-year-old. The dub writing has been kind of sinking for a while now, but that's a conversation for another day. So that's really good as well. There's some really, really good stuff. What's the next one I wanted to say? I can't remember. Oh no, I said it was There and Back Again, and I lied. It's called The Birth of Hyrule. I was wrong. That's the story, the Zelda story. I'm gonna check my Wattpad now because
I'm terrible. I can't find the stories that I originally read.
Nice.
I forgot. I probably forgot what they're called in all honesty. But I remember I read a few Yu-Gi-Oh! GX fanfictions and Ruby, a few others. But there's just going through the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX fanfictions. Some of these things.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
My God, one of them is literally called "If Jaden Was a Girl," and I'm like, no, I'm not reading that. How dare you?
Dude, you know what my favorites are? Dude, self-inserts.
Oh, self-inserts.
Self-insert fanfiction.
You ever have those original characters in your thing that completely... He gets all the chicks and he completely changes the entire dynamic of the entire fucking story?
Yes.
Oh,
But most
self-inserts.
what I've seen most of in as far as self-inserts go, it's basically the writer inserting themselves into the world and forcing basically like heavily like pushing the main couple to become an actual couple. That's literally been it's like self-insert is like the author like drops in and it's like, you two like each other, now kiss, and they do. That's the plot in it. That's a plot in a nutshell.
The self-inserts, like, I'm here now, and I'm joining this friend group because I know how all of you are, and because I've been watching you guys literally the entire show.
I know everything about you.
I know what everyone likes, so I'm gonna become friends with everyone, join the group, and I'm gonna be fucking the guy that gets everyone together, and then I'm gonna get with the chick I like, and it's just like, fuck off.
I love and hate self-insert fanfiction.
I primarily hate them.
It's so stupid, and that's why I love it, but it's also so bad, and that's why I hate it.
Yeah. One thing that I love, though, about fanfic.net is that, like, the 5th highest anime and manga that's been fanfic is Yu-Gi-Oh!
Nice.
I love that so much. That is amazing. It's Naruto, Hetalia, Inuyasha, Bleach, and then Yu-Gi-Oh!
Epic.
Love it. Ruby, despite not being as old as them, is actually very high up.
Nice.
That's a surprise. Everyone kind of just... Because since the creator of Ruby passed away and volume 4s and 5 were terrible, everyone just kind of like took the story on themselves and was just like, I can do better because the original.
That sounds
guys
like fan fiction writers.
Even though the Monty the creator of Ruby, he wrote out the story to last at least 13 volumes or something like that, and he got up to number 3 before he passed away.
Nice.
So like his best friends who helped him write it, they know where the story's going. There's 13 volumes worth of material done. So, fuck everyone else for thinking they can take it in a better direction. But they're not wrong, though. Volumes 4 and 5 were pretty trash.
Damn.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's mainly because of the poor animation, if anything.
Damn. It really be like that.
High School DxD has more fanfic than Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds? What is going on? What?
Dude, it's High School DxD. Titties.
High School DxD fanfic, let's go.
Pick one that's rated M.
It's got more than Sword Art Online. Suck a dick. Ha.
I that actually doesn't surprise me.
You know the one thing I don't like, though? Everyone... People that use Japanese names for certain characters than English names for others in the same fanfic. It's like, come on, make up your fucking mind.
Make up your fucking mind. Yeah.
Sorry,
Pick one that's rated M. That's what you have to do.
Dude, you know what we should do?
What?
Just read the first chapter of random fanfics we find.
We should do that on another podcast.
Another podcast? Alright, yeah,
Yes.
we're just gonna find absolutely random fanfics and read them, because I think it'll be funny.
That would be epic.
You know, I'm adding that to the list. I'm
Please
adding that
do.
to the list of our upcoming episodes.
Please
reading random fanfics, and we could read our own old books or like my old book and your old fanfics if you want.
Dude. That's some good
Dude,
shit.
this fills up the 2 spots between before leading up to WrestleMania.
Nice. Yeah, we do need to lead up to WrestleMania.
And we've got it.
Oh yeah, so we've probably kind of exhausted this, but there's 2 more things we should talk about briefly. I actually want to mention kind of briefly. Trent will talk about his audiobook in a moment. Because Trent said you want to reveal the cast, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
we'll do that in a little bit. In just a moment, actually. I wanted to just kind of bring up the idea of the book series that I was kind of dreaming up to do in a few years' time. There's a lot of and this was something like original that I wanted to do, and hopefully get Trent involved, somehow, some way. But it's like something that I just, again, it's something original, and I think a few years down the line, I will kind of be at a point where, and obviously this isn't me right now, I'm just kind of looking ahead. I will probably be at a point where I will be a little bit exhausted of making just music, and I'll probably have a job. I'll probably be relatively stable. So it's something
Mentally.
else. Yeah, hopefully. It's something that I've been wanting to give a try, because it's somewhere different, a different way to use my creative juices or whatever the fuck, creative fuel. It's a different way to kind of different canvas to put my creativeness on. So I will probably do that a few years down the line, but it will be a few years, because I will probably at that point be a little just tired of making music all the time, so I'll just try something a little bit different and take a little bit of a break from that. So whenever that happens, I will probably start brainstorming for that book series. But yeah, that is definitely something I want to happen. I have no idea what it's going to be, but it'll be something. It'll be a light novel series. It won't be something huge or anything like that. It's not going to be a 10-volume light novel series. It'll probably be 5 light novels at most. Maybe. It could be more if I decide I really want to go full ham on it, but as of right now, I'm kind of thinking just a small side venture for me. The thing I'm really bad with is actually just writing it out. Just doing all the, just the shit that you have to write it all out. And just, the details and describing everything. I'm good at it in theory, but when I actually have to do it, or I'm good at it when I want to, but when it becomes a lot and you're just typing out descriptions for hours on end, I'm just kind of I don't want to do this.
It burns you out for a surprisingly long amount of time.
Yeah.
It's just oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep writing more descriptions.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little obnoxious. So that's my biggest concern for that book series. But it probably will happen. My goal is to make it something very, very anime, very fantasy. I don't know. It will probably have some sort of comedy in it. The thing about, and you know what? I've browsed Amazon. There's a light novel for fucking everything. And and also fucking anything you want. There's a light novel for that.
That time I got reincarnated for a hard drive for someone's porn addiction. And it's just there's different
A realist
shows
hero
and
rebuilds the
books.
economy from zero or some shit like that. That's one that I've seen.
I became a bottle of sake in America. It's just
Yeah,
like,
some random shit. There's literally a light novel for everything. But the thing is, especially Japanese written light novels, the comedy is very like, it's good oftentimes. Like, you have your Konosubas, you have your whatever else. But Cautious Heroes is good as well. But it's a very different like brand of comedy because they are grown Japanese men, and their brand of comedy is a little different from the younger generation of kids in the West, or in
you know when we're writing this light novel series, there's just going to be one guy that goes around yelling penis at everything. it's gonna happen.
Oh my god,
it's gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Dude,
so
we got comedy for days.
Content, quality content. So it's a different type of comedy.
The ultimate self-insert is just you
It's just me running around
penis.
yelling penises at the top of my lungs in public. It's only a matter of time before that happens in real life, anyway. So
okay,
yeah,
lovely.
Yeah, it's so yeah, like I said, it's a different type of comedy. So I think if I were to try that, I would want to bring like a very young and like youthful brand of comedy to the light novel scene, I guess. And hopefully the idea is I'll have a YouTube channel and following big enough so that it actually gets some sort of traction. So that's the
That was one of the problems with my book release. No one fucking knew it existed.
Yeah, that didn't help.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that'll hopefully be, but yeah, since it'll be a few years down the line, that's the idea. So how it'll get published is still up in the air, obviously. But yeah, so it'll happen, but I'm just not sure what it's gonna be yet. So just if you're hearing this, just remember 4 years from now that I told you it was gonna happen. All right, I gotta pee, so keep talking.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about like just a little roundup. Basically, yeah, I've been writing since 2013, and I've tried to get involved with other projects. I've actually, apart from writing like small fanfics and a lot of my own stuff, I've actually ghostwritten for a visual novel as well. I mentioned this in an episode before, probably about video games. Writing in general was just something that's always like since school, it was just a nice escape thing for me, especially in school. When I was just sitting there talking to mates and that, I did all my homework. I used to always get everything done at school. If you know how Australian high schools work, it's a bit different to Americans. But so yeah, whenever I got everything done, and a lot of people just fucked around on their iPads and played games, I would keep myself occupied by writing because it was just something else to do. And I had a lot of ideas. And the great thing about that as well, teachers didn't tell me off because I looked productive. So that always helped. So yeah, writing has always been a huge part of my life. And I, like, even though now I'm working full time, I still try to make time for it. Because that's the one thing. If you're an aspiring writer, you got to make time for it. You got to get something down every day. You got to try and, like, if it's truly something you're passionate about, you got to put in the effort. Regardless of how limiting things may be. Like, that's the one thing. It took me a while to realize that The Protector as like a light novel series wasn't probably going to work because of how small the books were. They were a lot smaller compared to usual light novels, and also the costing for someone like me to print and everything was just way too difficult. But yeah, as I mentioned before though, I have tried to branch out. I've written a wrote for visual novel that it hasn't gone anywhere yet. It was an independent studio, a guy who was a bit of he was an artist and like storyboarder. He had a friend that was good at like software programming, and he was going to do the game itself while the lead was going to do the character art. And like basically he had this story in mind. He just wanted me to write the dialogue and like conflicts and stuff like that, and we got very far into it, but it ended for one reason or another, and it never became official. He said he might revive it, and if he does, he'll let me know, and he'll bring me back on for the project, but it looks like it's not going to.
Nice.
That was about a year or two ago, I think. Either way, like, I've tried really... that's why I started up with the website Steam It. It's kind of like a blog thing where you can write whatever you want, and like, it's almost like paid through cryptocurrency as well, depending on interaction. It's like a startup thing, except because it uses cryptocurrency, it's really arsey on passwords and settings and that. And I got essentially locked out of my own account. So, and because it's still in beta, they don't really have a good communication system. They don't respond to you on Twitter. You email them. I emailed them like 3 times over the past year, and I haven't got a single response. And so I haven't been on Steam in a while. So don't go. You can look it up if you want. But I was writing reviews and stuff like that, and I did my own fantasy booking for WrestleMania last year. And yeah, or the year before, sorry, probably. But yeah. Anyway, so I always attempt to take things beyond what they initially plan. I always like to try and do something that's a little bit more than what you'd expect. Like, you look at a lot of novels nowadays, it's always the same fucking really bad PNG art of just a person standing with some background art.
Yeah.
I decided to actually get it commissioned and turn it into an anime artwork, and it still is a bit generic. I'm looking to make the actual novel have a more interesting, eye-catching art for the book. But I always attempt to do things and go further with them than you'd expect. That's why I essentially wrote the plot for 20 light novel volumes. Essentially.
Nice. And
also why my upcoming project, which I've mentioned a few times, the audiobook, what this is basically, since I'm rewriting The Protector as a novel, I'm going to eventually be taking down Volume 1 from stores, but in its place have the audiobook, so people know what the story was originally kind of like, and they still have it there if they're interested in checking it out.
Yep.
But my problem is I don't want to just make an audiobook where I have to put on voices and do everything. I decided to hire a bunch of people to do the voices for all the characters. Yeah. So this is a proper voice-acted audiobook, and I've got a majority of the lines for all except one character who's got the second most lines, so I don't blame him. And then I need to edit the whole thing together with non-copyrighted music and sound effects and whatnot. So it's going to be a lot of editing. So I can't give you I initially wanted to get it out for Christmas as kind of like a Christmas gift, but that is not happening. No. It's already January.
Fuck.
So I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm just going to do it at my own leisure since it's my own personal thing. But I've got the entire of the voice acting casts sorted, since I've got a majority of the lines, and I'm fairly comfortable with the person that hasn't got me her lines yet, but she's in the middle of doing it, because I'll tell you why a bit later. But I'm comfortable with the cast, and I will announce to you the cast of the Protector Volume 1 audiobook now.
Yeah, it's going to
in order of a...
In a little bit, and whenever you get it out, it's gonna be pretty dope, actually.
I'm looking forward to it. The cast in order of appearance. Playing the role of Dark Lord Lucifer as well as the Tower Guard was the previously mentioned Imperfect Sound, Mike Merritt.
Yeah, shoutouts to Mike. He also goes by Mika, whatever you want to call him. He's on Twitter at Pika Imperfect. Pika_imperfect, and he's on YouTube as Imperfect Sound. Just a little little insider info here. Basically, Trent, he had a friend that was gonna do these roles, or two different people that were gonna do these roles, and they eventually had to drop out for one reason or another. And I was like, well, I know a guy I could probably ask to take their place. And so, because Mike and I had been talking for a while now, we're planning to do a cover of the new Pokemon opening for Pocket Monsters, which is actually really good. Which will come out eventually. It still needs a lot of work because it's a really complicated song, and we're working in conjunction on it. So, but yeah, he's a great musician. He's just really good. So yeah, go check out his channel. He's a really, really nice guy. Like, he's way too nice for his own good. Mike, you need to stand up for yourself, dude. If you're listening to this, just you need to just be less nice, dude. Yeah, it's almost frightening how nice you are.
I appreciate the niceness though for you volunteering your voice for these two roles.
Yes. So he agreed to do those two roles. He's a great voice actor. He just recently posted his new demo reel for background music as well as voice acting. So if you want to see that, it's on his channel, and it's just he's really cool. So yeah. Nice. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. I originally had two different mates helping me out with this for these two roles individually. One of them was a mate that I made at AvCon, the video game convention I host at. However, he's just got a lot of family things going on, so he couldn't really commit the time to it. And the other mate was in a car accident, and he's a bit sore. So I don't blame him for pulling out. I completely understand why. But Mike took on these roles, and I think he's done a fantastic job at both of them. Okay, next is the role of Dark Lord Azeroth, played by Josh Pydra. JJ Pydra. He is a guy I met over Discord and Facebook. He and a few others, like, we're part of a Facebook group of, like, English light novelists, and back when I published The Protector Volume 1, and he is the author of the AR Dragonfly light novel series, and it is actually, he sent me the first few volumes of his book. It is really good. I've
actually been meaning to check it out. Like, it actually looks really interesting.
It genuinely is really good. And when I was deciding to make this project, I just mentioned offhandedly I'm looking for voice actors. He said, I've actually delved in voice acting myself. And I'm like, really? And he sent me a few examples of what he's done, and I'm like, dude, you could actually, like, fit a role perfectly. Because one thing with a lot of these roles is I typically, if I think someone's good for the role, I'll ask them to do it. Like, I have admittedly just asked someone, hey, I really like your voice, but I do think this person could nail it a bit better. Would you mind, like, would you mind if I recast? And luckily everyone's been okay with that. Don't want to sound like a dick, but Josh just fit this role amazingly. Like, I also, one thing I want to do is, like, when I'm gonna get chapter 1 of the prologue together, hopefully done soon, and then I actually kind of want to do like a little teaser thing to put on social media where I include everyone's voices. Nice. And Josh, he sounds like a proper maniacal villain. He is very good. So thank you very much to Josh. Next role as Dark Lord Lilith is a friend of mine, Manisha. She's an artist. She does very good chibi artwork and a cosplayer as well. And she's got a very good, like, almost like, if she wanted to, like, she's a bit of a shy person, but if she wanted to, like, her voice could be used as something as a little bit more of an intimidating woman. And her voice just kind of suited the role, so I thought, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And she said yes, and I do think, she says, she's told me that she's listened back to the lines, and she personally thinks she sounds like a whining baby. But to me, she sounds like a proper, like, authoritarian fucking leader, and it's just like, you actually sound like you fit the role, you've done a good job, so...
I'm sure she did well.
So... Moodle the Noodle _art. Check out her artwork on Instagram. Very good. Next was Dark Lord Azazel, which I'm purposely labeling as unknown, but in reality it was just me. It's literally, it is literally just all he says is where, and that's it. So I'm just gonna add a bunch of filters and echo effects to it, and that's all it's gonna be. Next is playing the role of the bus driver and principal life is Marcus Dent, or MC Dent on YouTube. He is a good friend of mine who has been hosting AvCon for several years. That's how I met him. Fucking awesome bloke. We talk a bit online, and he's really interested in my writing and all that. And he has a YouTube channel where he uploads clips of him doing different hosting at different conventions. He kind of like does that as like a hobby, but wants to turn it into a career. He's a very good like announcer and things like that. And he had the voice for it. He initially was just the bus driver because he kind of gave me the idea for the audiobook, because when he first read the book, he said, dude, I love the bus driver so much just because of his like his implied accent. And it's just like, if you ever do an audiobook, I want to be the bus driver. So that's how I kind of got the idea to have a voice acted audiobook. Nice. And I said, dude, I'm doing it. You want to be the bus driver? And he went above and beyond, making the most stereotypical Australian accent. And it's fucking hilarious, and it works. But it still works. It doesn't undercut the seriousness epic. Where the bus driver's in. So, fucking great job. And Principal Lyof, originally I was going to get one of my old teachers to help me with that, in fact. Because he has had a lot of drama, he's also a drama teacher and has been in a lot of stage performances. But he's also was incredibly busy, so he couldn't commit the time to it and didn't have the actual equipment to voice record. So I asked Marcus if he wanted to take up this role as well, and he turned the principal into almost like a British teacher, and it works really well. Nice. So I thought, okay, perfect. So Marcus has done a great job on that. MC Dent on YouTube. Check him out. Next is myself. I technically take on two roles. I take on Zane, the main character, as well as the teacher, Mr. Kago, because I honestly just couldn't be fucked finding someone to cast Mr. Kago, because he has 3 lines and they're all boring and he's not relevant. That's one thing. I made an irrelevant character, the teacher, so that was my fault. I initially didn't cast anyone for Zane just because he's got the most lines out of everyone, and I know there's only a few people I pay to be in this thing, and I know if I asked someone to do this role, they would want to be paid for it. So I decided to just take on Zane myself, and I think I've done alright. I think I may have to redo a few things, but I'm more than happy to do that, so yeah, there you go. Next, playing the role of Yulia is Silent Echo. I found her on voice acting casts, or whatever the website was you suggested to me, Gus.
Casting Call Club.
That's it. She's been in a few Undertale fan done things where she plays Frisk, and she's actually a really, really good voice actor for shy characters and stuff like that. And I thought, fuck that voice. I can imagine that voice coming out of Yulia's face. So I was just like, all right, I'll ask her if she wants to be part of it. And she's openly just taken on things as well. She's taken on this role. She has been incredibly busy, but she's really determined to do it. So I've stuck with her. She's the only one I haven't got the lines with, but I completely understand, because Yulia has the second most lines in the entire book. So I understand she hasn't got everything to me yet, and she's in the progress of doing it, but I intend to stick with Silent Echo. And she said, no, I don't want to be paid for the role, because I just love voice acting. And I said, dude, the amount you're doing, you deserve to be paid. So I'm going to try and work something out with her, but yeah, Silent Echo, she has a YouTube channel. She is what a very nice lady. And we talked a bit over Christmas as well about just stuff, and it's nice. So yeah, Silent Echo, very nice. Next is literally, I didn't mention her name because I was going to mention her name in a later volume. Zane's mother. I just got a friend, Tiffany, to take that role, because it was a very minuscule role, and I just wanted to add more effects to it as well. So Tiffany took on that.
Thanks Tiffany.
Next, playing the role of Nirav and Barrett is
boy.
you, Silver Storm.
It's me.
And
it's me.
Literally, the only reason
It was me.
the only reason
Austin.
I got the main reason I wanted you to do both roles, like I knew you would work for Nirav, but then the reason I got you to be Barrett as well is just so you could have an argument with yourself. That's literally it.
This is the best part of the book, dude. Okay,
for the actual.
You gotta hear me out. Okay, guys, you gotta hear me out on this one. So, essentially, to give you context, Nirav's this nice little boy. He's just this really kind of reserved. He's really nice, and so. Obviously, as you can imagine, I did something like, "Oh, you guys are so nice. I can't believe you've done this for me." And one of the name of the school bully is Barrett, and he's a werewolf.
He's a werewolf.
So Trent had someone to cast for the role initially, and then he I think you Snapchatted me one day, and you're like, "Well, I don't have someone for Barrett anymore." And I was like, "What is he like?" And I basically sent him a Snapchat video of me trying to be Barrett, and he was like, "You know what? That'll work."
And then I realized that Nirav and Barrett actually had like an argument and a fight, and I'm like, dude, this could be so funny. It's just gonna be you arguing with yourself.
So it's literally gonna so in a part of the story they actually like get it, they don't actually don't start
Say
brawling or whatever,
punk.
but like Barrett does the whole collar grab, like, "You say something, punk." That was the voice I did for Barrett.
And then I get to fight you, motherfucker. Bring it.
yeah
I get to yell pissed off at you in a crowd voice. Love it.
Epic. So I get to bully myself in this audiobook, so please tune in.
This will
It's
be
gonna
amazing.
be great.
I am so excited.
It's gonna be
I'm
great.
excited.
So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Okay, next, I'm nearly done, and we'll end the episode after because this has been going on quite a bit. Next is playing the role of Mrs. Keiko, another teacher that's actually a bit more relevant, is my friend Tamisha, or Sir Tamachi. She did the Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Collection album by Nate Wants to Battle review thing with us, with both of us. I don't know. I thought she's also got a good authoritarian voice when she wants to be. She's also, like Manisha, incredibly shy. But I felt like if she could take on the role of just trying to be a bit serious, she could fit the role very well. And I think she did. Personally, I do think she nailed it. So Tamisha is the role of Sir Tamachi. That's fucking Mrs. Keiko. There you go. Now, the next three are the ones I'm most excited about because I didn't know if I was going to get any of these guys included. Playing the role of Rosa / Belladonna, they're the same character but different names, is Cammy Mile. Cammy Mile is an Australian voice actress, and she does a few covers, she does a few voice acting jobs, and I got her in because Marcus is actually good friends with her, and I heard a few of her demo reel, and I thought if she wanted, she could be all sweet and nice and then afterwards just sound really angry and sadistic, and I thought that would fit Rosa incredibly well. And I want to actually send you some of her stuff. I'll send you the lines she gave me, Gus, because I'm very impressed with them. She pulls off shy, nice anime girl incredibly well, and then evil motherfucker that's going to rip your throat out with her teeth, because she's a vampire. But, so Cammy Mile, incredibly good job. I can't wait to edit your stuff together as well, because the other thing that adds to the, one of the scenes between the principal and Rosa is that they have a huge interaction between them two, and because Marcus and Cammy were recording on the same day in the same booth, it flows a lot better. So I can't wait to make that happen. Next, just as the announcer role, I got a Spiritu in, mate of mine, Daniel. Met him at AvCon as well. He played. If you haven't, have you seen my AvCon vlogs, Gus?
I've seen Like, I know they exist, and I think I've watched, like,
Watch
one.
the 2017 one if you get the chance, because at the 2017 AvCon is when the infamous Maid Deku came to light. Because it was so funny. Yeah, but Espiritu, he's got a few thousand subs on YouTube, does mainly anime reviews and predictions and stuff like that for covering light novels and stuff. He does a very good job of that. And I thought he would just have a nice role. He could fit well as the announcer, so that's why I got him in to do this. And yeah, very cool, very good guy, and fucking legend in AvCon now as Maid Deku. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the 2017 AvCon vlog. You'll get it. And lastly is probably the biggest name on this entire fucking thing. Playing the role of Wyatt is Shady Fox. Blake Swift, Shady Fox. Shady Fox was one of the original creators, along with X the Dark One, for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the abridged series. And so much so, he got to work with Little Karibo on several different things, and the original Bridger himself. And Shady Fox, since then, like he's kind of taken on GX again. He stopped for a while, but I think he's taking on GX abridged again. And he does a lot of good covers and songs. He's a musician at heart, and he does a lot of good stuff. And I got talking with him after what was it? I believe it was my video I did on a bridge series, and I mentioned both X and Shady in it. And Shady actually messaged me on Twitter in regards to like him saying, "Actually, I'm picking up the series again." So I was like, "Oh, that's fucking sick!" And we just started talking on Twitter, and
nice.
He's a nice guy. And I thought, you know what? I feel like Wyatt. I didn't really know. I knew Wyatt if comes in at the very end. He's like basically he fights Zayn in the first round of the fighting tournament, and I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to take Wyatt in. And I thought, I just need a voice that just stands out and makes it a little bit different to kind of give him some personality. And I don't know, Shady Fox just... I was talking to him at the same time, I thought, what if Shady Fox did it? What, like, because he's British, he's got a light voice, but he can, like, turn it up to seriousness and a little bit deeper if he needs to. So I feel like he could do a very good Wyatt before fight and after fight where he's actually like in pain. And I thought, well, he's actually a voice actor, so he could probably get that better than anyone else. Like, if I just asked my mate, now do a pained voice, they would be like, that fucking hurt. Oh, but it's just like, I knew someone a little bit more professional could nail those parts. So then, and Shady Fox killed it. He fucking did a phenomenal job. So,
what a guy.
Yeah, there you go. So that is the entirety of the cast, if you cared. I'll be linking all of them in the actual video whenever it's made. Sometime this year, that's all I can tell you, because I've got most of the stuff together, but now I've got to get all the voice effects, the sound effects, the music, and then I got to edit the whole thing together. And yeah, it will be a bit of a challenge, especially with full-time work, but it will happen. It will happen eventually, because I've come this far. I've got all the lines. I'm not giving up now, and I've still got like half the thing to narrate, but that's fine. I'll get around to that. I just want to get the prologue and chapter 1 together, just so I have a baseline of where I'm going, and then I can get the rest of it sorted from there. But yeah, there you go. That is the cast for the Protector Volume 1 audiobook. Once the audiobook is out, yeah, actual hard copies and ebook copies of my book I'll take down from stores. I still have like 50 hard copies printed in a box. So if anyone just wants one, I'll probably just give you one in person. But yeah, for now they're going to be, like, soon they'll be taken down from stores, and then under Trent Malay I'll publish the actual novel version of The Protector. It might have another name, but who knows. But essentially, like, I'm gonna continue writing under Trent Malay, and then everything else will probably be under Trent and the Dash Y, or something like that. Like, I've thought of delving into music as well, but if I do, that will be under a different name. Like, the only thing I want Trent Millay to be known for online is books. That's mainly it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there you go. That's about wraps up the entirety of this episode. It probably went on for a lot longer than expected. I think it did. That's fine. That's okay. Because we're both, as you said, we're both creative people. We're both interested in all sorts of things like that. Like, you've taken on music head on, and I've taken on writing head on, and we both want to delve into different areas as well. And I feel like... Well, I feel like regarding of what we've done pretty well for ourselves, considering this is literally like music as a hobby. Like, it's still a hobby for you, but you're fucking pumping out songs and making money. I hope, but you actually do it.
Yes, I am.
You actually like doing it to a high degree, and it's really good. And writing, like, even though I've only got one book out, like, if you looked at my room and the boxes of fucking drafts and stuff like that, you can tell I've been at this for years. And once the actual novel version of The Protector comes out, I'm going ham with it. I'm making sure everyone I know buys a fucking copy of this book. I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work.
Oh, it's gonna
happen. And hopefully I can actually keep ghostwriting or just writing in general for like other visual novels and stuff like that. I actually want to use my writing for other projects because it just seems really fascinating and want to get my name out there, and I love it. So let's fucking get it going. But do you have anything else to mention before we wrap it up? No. Alrighty.
Please don't make me read my old
We're going to. It's a future episode. We're reading our old shit.
Oh my god.
It's gonna happen. But
I know, but like
anyway, thank you all so much for watching.
It'll be funny.
If you want to follow us online, we are on Twitter at the FireStorm Podcast, or FireStorm Pod on Twitter.
We're at FireStorm Pod, Follow us because yesterday Trent
I went on
really
a rant.
bored and started posting random shit.
I was overtired and I just started posting random shit, and it was amazing. And
dude, when you're tired, that's the best time to post random shit on Twitter.
So, and also, I want to get this going as a fucking thing we always do. I want it from now on that I plug the Twitter and then you go with your little rhyme and plug the email.
Oh, you want me? Okay,
let's do it now. Let's do it now. If you want to follow us online, follow us on Twitter at FireStorm Pod.
And if you have any questions or suggestions for us, please leave them in the comments or email us at firestormproductions2@gmail.com.
That was smooth.
That's no caps and the number 2.
That was smooth.
Yeah. You know by now. It's on the about page as well.
Yeah, from now on we have to do that every time. I do Twitter, you do email and comments, because I fucking love that. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one, guys.
Bye!